Okay guys, so here's a quick update on the market, right? As you can see, this is DXY and currently I'm on the weekly time frame. So once we're done with this, I'll take you guys over to USDJPY, GBPUSD and EURUSD. So this week has actually been very bearish. As you can see, this is this week candle. And if you look at last week was also the same thing. It was totally bearish, right? And this shows that the sellers were really present in the market. And if you guys notice that for some weeks right now, okay, since September 15, that was from this moment, buyers have been gaining control of the market, and they really approach the resistance structure, this particular zone right here. Now, this zone is not just an ordinary zone, and if I shrink down, you'll see that this is actually a very strong market structure. So which is previous support right here, okay, previous support right here, which is now a resistance. Of course, there's going to be a reaction in the market, right? There's definitely going to be a reaction in the market. And if I take you guys to the monthly time frame, so let's just take a little bit of an overview. So as you can see on the monthly, if you look at today's 5th of December, right? And as you can see, this month is already getting bearish. Now, you might be wondering why this month is looking bearish. Of course, these are questions we can actually ask ourselves, right? But if you guys take a look at last month candle, which is November candle, so which is November candle, right? You will see that this particular candle that the market printed out here, this is actually a candlestick formation. Now, this candlestick formation shows an equality between both the buyers and the sellers. I mean, this is what we call a doji candle, right? Now, this doji candle appears at this structural zone, this market structure right here. Okay, so of course there's going to be a reaction. Okay, because if you look at previous month, this is October, right? Yeah, October. Okay, October was totally bullish, and if the buyers in this market on October, if they were very strong, if they were strong enough, of course they would have gained control of the market and pushed the market to the upside. But unfortunately, the buyers from October market, they could not push the market on the following month, which is the month of November. Okay, and as you can see, it totally closed with a doji candle. So yeah, we were expecting something like this to also occur, showing that a continuation of the selling activities from last month, right? Now let's go over to the weekly. Now before I go over to the weekly, we were actually observing the markets, to approach this major resistance zone. Okay, this can actually take a little period of time, and because this is monthly time frame, so we're actually looking to see price giving us a bullish movement to the market. So this is going to be a correction. Here we have bearish wave, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and bearish wave 4. Now all of this movement to the downside is actually a correction. Okay, actually correction. So now let's go back to the weekly time frame. So right here on the weekly, like I said the other time, this week is actually bearish, right? So now one of the things we need to always ask ourselves is, why is this week bearish? Okay, and what information can we derive? Because we want to also trade in line with market direction, right? And if you look at this particular wave to the downside, okay, this particular bearish movement to the downside. Now all of these structures were broken. Okay, this structure was actually broken, so this is actually a valid low structure. But if you look at the current structure, this particular structure, there was no breakout. Okay, there was no breakout. And of course, you can actually regard this as a double bottom formation, right? So this is the first touch of the bottom one and the second touch of the bottom two. So this is a valid double bottom formation. But I can tell you guys that everything you're seeing right here also belongs to a correction. So it means that the downtrend, as you're seeing right here, is still very much active, because if you look at it right here, the market has been on a downtrend since January 2025, that this year, okay, and the downtrend is still very much active, okay, very much active, because we as a trader, we have the opportunity to know when a correction or when a trend has actually come to an end, and when a new trend is about to begin. But with all of this showing right here, these are just first step to show us that the trend is or might likely going to end. Do you understand? Because the moment whereby we have price finding it difficult to break the low structure, then it means that there is possibilities of price changing direction. But at the same time, right, everything right here still belongs to a correction, okay, because this could be the wave 1, wave 2, and wave 3, and you might see the market coming back to the downside, making the next bearish movement, okay. But at the same time, right, I mean, it doesn't mean that structures like these, formations like this doesn't work. Double top formation, double bottom formation, they do work, but it depends on how you view them and how you trade the formations, right? Now, this is higher time frame, so of course we won't just start buying randomly, so we have to just wait for confirmation. So as you can see, currently this week is bearish, last week is also bearish. So now we are going to go over to the daily time frame. My major goal is to observe what is going on within this movement, or let's say entirely everything going on within this uptrend, right? So this is going to give me an idea on whether I will be looking for a selling activities or buying activities. So so let's go back to the daily time frame. Right here on the daily, as you can see, this is the activities I was actually projecting to observe, on the daily. And as you can see right here, this actually shows a clear uptrend, giving us bullish impulse, correction. We have the bullish impulse, the correction, we have the bullish impulse, and this is also another example of a double top formation. So here we have the top one and the top two, and if you guys remember, right, we also have the same thing right here. We have the bottom one and the bottom two. So if you see something like this where we have double bottom formation, okay, my advice is you don't just buy from here, from the breakout, because you might actually be buying at the end of the third wave, because this is actually the wave 1, the wave 2, and wave 3 to the upside. So if you're buying from here because this is a breakout of the resistance structure, which is also called the neckline, then you might be on the wrong side of the market, because this could actually be the next bearish movement to the downside, which is the next impulsive move, right? So in as much as these double top formation and double bottom formation do work, we always try as much as possible to wait for confirmation before we trade these patterns, right? So now as you can see, we have the same thing right here. This is top 1 and top 2, and you can see our price broke out of the support structure. So 3 days ago, which was on Wednesday, so this candle actually broke out of this support structure, so showing us that there's going to be further bearish movement to the downside. So I wouldn't want to take you guys time. I wouldn't want to take your time, so I'll just proceed further. So now this is actually showing us that there's going to be a possible reversal in the market, but at the same time this could also be wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and then the next bullish impulse to the upside. Okay, because this resistance structure, the resistance structure wasn't broken out, and if you look at the previous highs, this was broken out. This is also a breakout, so it means that all of those breakouts are showing valid continuation, right? But in this case, right, we can't really tell because the high wasn't broken. Okay, so this is actually not a valid support structure. I mean, we can still regard this as a support structure, but in terms of change of market trend, then this is not really a valid structure because price can still turn around to the upside. So assuming we actually had a break of the resistance structure and then price, so we have something like this. Let me just give you guys an example. So we have price, going further to the upside. This is showing an uptrend. And as you can see, all of these resistance structures were broken. So these are some things that we need to always pay attention to anytime we are trying to project the market. We always need to pay attention to the resistance structures. Okay, now we can see that this is the current one. We had the break of the resistance structure, and then the support structure was also broken to the downside. Now we can actually tell that this is going to be a valid change of market trend, because why? We actually had the break of the previous high structure. So which means that the buyers in the market, okay, they were able to take out the sellers in the resistance, because of course if you look at those resistance structures, right, the sellers are always present. Okay, sellers are always present at every resistance structures. But if you look at it here, this is actually a buyer's trend, so the buyer should be able to take out the resistance without any stress. Okay, now with all of this going on, okay, it shows that buyers have actually taken out the sellers, but unfortunately, right, the buyers were able to, they were not able to continue the trend anymore. And this now proves that the sellers are now going to gain control of the market. So you can see right here, this is going to be a change of market direction from an uptrend to a downtrend. But anytime we have something like this where the previous high structure wasn't taken out, it's something that we always need to be very, very careful about. So we have something like this. Okay, something like this. Now this is a double top formation. Now according to our system, right, there is something called simple correction and complex correction. So this is the reason why we always want to be very, very careful with this formation, like double top formation and double bottom formation. Because if you see something like this, right, this is the top one and the top two, and this is the neckline. Okay, and you might be thinking, this is actually a change of market direction, change of trend, right? Of course, when you see a double top formation at a resistance structure, it projects a change of trend. But in many cases, right, it is not always so, because I've seen so many of these formations that they really tends to work in the opposite direction. So this is why we always need to wait for confirmation before we trade any of those patterns. So before I trade, or before I regard, in fact, right, when I was mentioning that this is not a valid support structure, it is actually a support structure, but in terms of a change of market trend, then it is not really a valid support structure. So in this case, this is my previous low structure, which is a valid low structure, because why? This resistance structure was broken. So this is the reason why you're seeing that I am marking out my support structure, which is the daily structure, around this level. So this is a valid support structure right there. Okay, now this is also the same thing right here. Okay, as you can see, this is also the same thing. So so what I'll do is seeing something like this breaking to the downside, then I can tell that this is going to be a change of market direction, right? It's not that difficult. So right here, and sometimes we can actually see something like this, price moving to the upside. So everything right here could actually seems to be a complex correction. So just like the way this is a correction, okay, it's also the same thing with all of these other corrections right here. Okay, so this is why we always want to be very careful with how we trade these patterns. So as you can see on DXY daily time frame, we actually had a break of the support structure right here. Okay, and as you can see, price is trying to create a retracement to the upside. Now, for the fact that DXY is looking bearish, so that means pairs like USDJPY, okay, we are going to be having the same projection on those markets. But before we go there, let's have a quick look on the 4 hours time frame. Now, if you look at this movement to the downside, as you can see, this is a double top formation, the one we found on the daily, right? So this is the top one, and this is the top two, okay? And as you can see, our price went further to the downside, creating bearish impulse correction, impulse, and we have the bearish correction, we have the bearish impulse, and this is the bearish correction. So it means that everything you're seeing right here at the moment is all bearish correction. And at the same time, this bearish correction is also creating a retest of the broken structure. So personally for me, I mean, these are the criteria I will need to see, okay, before I trade a formations like this, a double top formation like this. I need to see a break of the structure and a retest to confirm the validity of these patterns, okay. Now, another thing we need to pay attention is the activities showing in this formation, right? This correction. So that would lead us to go over to the 1 hour time frame. As you can see, this is giving us a valid wave. Okay, this is actually the wave 1, wave 2, and wave 3 to the upside. Also around the structural retest zone. Okay, and we can also use Fibonacci tools from the swing high to the swing low. This is around 38.2 currently, and there is possibility of price, approaching the 50% retracement before going further to the downside. Okay, so this is it on DXY. So let's go over to USDJPY. Okay, so right here on USDJPY, we just go over to the to the weekly time frame. So the same thing as regards what happened on DXY, this is also the same thing happening on USDJPY. And if you can see, right, for some weeks right now, or let's say for some months, right, USDJPY has been giving us an uptrend, a very deep uptrend, showing buying activities, and this started from April 2025, and up to this moment, price is still trending to the upside. Okay, now if you guys can see what exactly is going on right here, I have my structure right here because this is my most visible structure on the weekly time frame. Because one thing is that every structure actually has, every time frame has a structure. Okay, every time frame has a structure, and currently I just switched back to a line chart. This is just to give you a possible overview of the structural zone. Okay, we have this, we have this. There are major structures and there are minor structures, so you don't want to do the mistake of marking out the minor structures. So we only want to focus on the major, because right here I think this is also a structure. Okay, we can also see some other structures around this area, but I am not focused on that. My major one is the one I'm going to mark, so which is this particular structure right here. So, and at the same time, if you look at the candlestick formation, this week is also was also bearish for USDJPY. And if you guys see what happened last week was also bearish. Okay, the buyers tried their best to push the market to the upside, but unfortunately the sellers brought them down to the downside. And most likely they were going to close with a doji. As you can see, this is more like a doji candle, which is actually an indecisive candle, and this appears at a resistance structure. This is a very strong resistance structure. And with everything going on USDJPY, everything right here, you can see right here, all belongs to a correction. Okay, this is actually a very complex correction. We have right here as the wave 1, we have this as the wave 2, this is the wave 3, and possible movement to the upside, which means that this whole correction has probably come to an end. But for now, the price has not yet broken out of this major resistance structure, so the correction is still very much active. So right now, our major concern, because we can see right here, 2 weeks candle has been giving us bearish activities. That means sellers have been very, very strong for 2 weeks. So we need to, because today's Friday, So we actually want to know if the bearish activities is going to continue on the following week. I mean, this is the most important thing, right? This is the most important thing that we need to always find out, okay? And this is why top-down analysis is very, very effective, because it allows you to view the bigger projection, the bigger picture of the market, and the smaller picture of the market. So now let's go back to the daily time frame. So right here on the daily time frame, as you can see, today's Friday, and this is what the daily is projecting for us right here. This is today's candle, and as you can see, today's candle is actually looking bullish, right? It means that sellers were present and the buyers took charge of the market and they drove price to the upside. But if you guys looked at Thursday candle, you can see that this Thursday candle showed a doji candle. This is actually an example of an indecisive candle. Okay, but if you guys pay attention to all of those movements to the downside, this is actually about 2 weeks movement. I mean, this is just example what I showed you guys on the weekly, that 2 week candle were showing bearish activities, and this is exactly the same thing right here. Okay, exactly the same thing right here. Now, this 2 weeks activity you're seeing, right, it's also showing a correction. That means for 2 weeks, price was creating a correction. So now the most important thing is to understand what exactly is going on within the correction. Okay, I mean, because if we view this particular movement to the downside right here, if we view it on the 1 hour time frame, it is going to be a very long downtrend. And if you don't come to the higher time frame like the daily or the weekly, you will never know that this is actually a correction. Okay, you will never know unless you check the higher time frame, and then you'll be able to know that this movement to the downside is actually a correction. So you can see right here, so right, we have the bullish impulse, we have the bullish correction, bullish impulse, bullish correction, we have the bullish impulse, and finally we have the bullish correction. So at the moment, this is the current phase of the market. So my major importance is to understand what is going on within this bullish correction. So let's go back to the 4 hours time frame. All right, so right here on the 4 hours time frame, as you can see, I mean, basically every correction should actually have minimum of 3 waves, right? This is, here we have wave 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, this is actually more than 3 waves already. So we have the 5th wave, we have the 6th wave, and this is the 7th wave. Now, all of this is showing that the correction is very, very much active, okay, and it can also extend, okay, it can also extend. Now, if you look at it, this is my previous high, this is the previous high structure, because this is a downtrend, right? Like I said, if you view this on the 1 hour time frame, it's going to be a very long downtrend. But you can see this is just the 4 hours, but this is the area where the sellers are presently in. And right here we have a support structure right here. This is actually a break of structure. We actually add the break of structure right there. So we had the break of structure right there. Now, with what is going on right now, okay, anyway, we're going to view that on the 1 hour time frame. But like I said, everything you're seeing right here is all correction, and we can also use our Fibonacci tools from the swing low, the swing low right here to the swing high, and okay, so this is actually giving us the 38.2. So it means that if price decided to continue to the downside, we are going to be looking towards the 50% retracement, and that is around 153.640. So this particular structure zone right here, so this is the area where we might actually be looking price to go further to the downside before the next bullish movement to the upside. Okay, so I'm just going to mark this level. This is my Fibonacci level, structure level. So let's go back to the 1 hour time frame. All right, so right here on the 1 hour time frame, you can see Okay, so I'm just going to bring this further like this. So guys, if you guys have any question, you can drop your question on the comment section. I'll do well to get your question answered. And if you have the need to reach out to me privately, feel free to do so. And whatever thing you have or that is bothering you guys, feel free to let me know, and I'll do well to give you a prompt response. So right here, as you can see, we also have equal low structure. This is more like a double bottom formation as well. So this is on the 1 hour time frame, and if you can see, this is why I said if you were not on the higher time frame, you would never know that everything right here, everything right here is just a correction on the higher time frame. But right here on the 1 hour time frame, it actually looks like a very long downtrend, right? This is just for 2 weeks, right? We had a bearish correction, we had a bearish correction, and this is also a bearish correction. So we're also having the same thing right here. Okay, so now what I'll be expecting ahead of the week is to see price approaching this resistance structure, right, and then going further to the downside. So this is giving me the wave 1, wave 2, and wave 3, and the price can actually go further to the downside. The reason is because the downtrend is still active unless we see price breaking above this resistance structure, because until then the price is still trending to the downside. But when we see price going further to the upside and then breaking above this particular resistance structure right here, then it shows that this old downtrend, this old correction, which is also a downtrend, has actually come to an end, because this is the previous high structure right here, as you can see. Okay, so this is all we got for you on USDJPY. So because of our time, I wouldn't want this video to be too long. So let's go over to GBPUSD. Alright, so this is GBPUSD, and I'm going to go over to the weekly time frame. And right here on the weekly, finally, as you can see. Now, some times ago, we actually had a live session where we discussed this market. And by the way, we are going to resume our live session, our Sunday live session very soon, okay, where we are going to be able to project the market for you, most especially the new week market projection. So this is actually going to be of a good benefit to many of our students, so stay tuned on that. Now, as you can see right here, this is GBPUSD, and currently I'm on the weekly time frame. Now, you guys can see what is going on, right? For some weeks right now, price has been showing us bearish activities. But before that, you can see right here, we have the bullish impulse, we have the bullish correction, we have the bullish impulse, correction, impulse. So it means that everything you're seeing right here, which the market is currently projecting, is actually a correction. Just like the way this market gave us a correction right here, also give us a correction right here, it's also the same thing going on around this area. We all know that in the Forex market, history always repeats themselves over and over again. So we always trade based on what has happened in the past, okay? And for the fact that every correction should actually have at least 3 wave formation. And if you look at what is going on right here, this is the wave 1, we have the wave 2, and the wave 3. So this push to the upside is actually forming the wave 4 to the upside. And sooner we might actually see price going further to the downside. Who knows, right? Because the correction is still active. And we can also, okay, just like as you can see right here, I have a structure. Now this is actually using Fibonacci tools from the swing low to the swing high. So I kind of pick 2 levels, which is the 61.8 and 50% retracement. So which means price can retrace and come back to the zone, at least within the zone, within the 61.8 and the 50% retracement before pushing further to the upside. But all of this is showing that the correction is still active, even if we have this is weekly time frame, and if you guys can see, this week is bullish, last week was also bullish, right? So even if we have 2 weeks of bullish candle, it doesn't really mean that the correction is over, because if you guys can see, this is also an example right here where we are 2 weeks of bullish candle, right? But does that really mean that the correction was over? Of course not. Okay, as you can see, price had a way to always make the formation. So this is actually, this week is actually bullish for GBPUSD, and just like DXY was bearish, and that was what I said, that if DXY is bearish, right, it means that USDJPY is also going to have the same formation as the dollar index, and GBPUSD, EURUSD would always go in opposite direction. Okay, so this is why GBPUSD is moving to the upside. So this is actually 2 weeks of bullish candle, right? So now my major concern right now is to understand what is really going on within this bullish, bearish correction right there. You can see we also had the same bearish correction in this area right here. So we are actually having the same thing right here. So now let's go back to the daily time frame. All right, so right here, this is the daily time frame on GBPUSD. So right here, I can definitely tell that this is actually wave 1, wave 2, and this is the wave 3 to the upside. So another thing I can do is to use Fibonacci tools from the swing high to the swing low. Now I'm actually, okay, currently price has already approached the 50% retracement, and this is the 61.8. So now one thing is that if 50% retracement is not going to hold, so it means that our next projection, our next resistance structure is going to be the 61.8. Now, so I'm just going to mark this level, which is a 61.8 structure, so which I have done that already. So it means that if this particular level, which is the 50% retracement, if it is not going to hold, then we are going to see the market pushing further to the upside to approach the 61.8. So as you can see, just like the way we had a valid correction around this year, around this correction right here, we are also going to have the same formation at this level as well. So as you can see, our price broke this support structure and then instantly created a retest or a pullback to the upside. Now it is very, very important that we are going to find a Fibonacci level, which is why I plotted out this. So now so we actually have an overview on what is going on within this correction already. So the market is making a third wave, right? So now let's go back to the 4 hours. So right here on the 4 hours, we have a major, I think this is where it is very, very important to understand more about the major, okay, major highs and the major lows. So right here, I'm picking everything right here as the major impulse, major correction, and everything right here as the major impulse. Now, within this major impulse, I also have this impulse correction and the impulse to the upside. So with that being said, it means that this is going to be my structure low, my major structure low right there. This is also a structure low right here, and this is why I said every time frame actually has their major structure, so we don't want to get them mistaken. Okay, so right here, what I'm looking out for in this market is to see a retest. So you can see this formation which the market is projecting right now. Okay, my goal is to see price going further to the downside to create a retracement and possibly giving us the same formation as this. Okay, as you can see, we have bullish impulse, bullish correction, bullish impulse. So this could be a bullish correction, and then the next bullish impulse to the upside, which in turn is going to approach our 61.8 level, which we marked on the daily time frame. So I think the level, okay, right here. So just hold on a second. Okay. So yeah, so around this this particular structure right here. So we can see price going over to this particular structure before turning back around. So now let's go over to the 1 hour time frame and let's see. So as you can see on the 1 hour time frame, you guys can see that we're actually having, you know, a formation right here. So everything the market is projecting within this area, these are possible corrective activities, right? These are something that the market does to project the next phase of the market. So here we have the wave 1, we have the wave 2, and possible we are going to have the wave 3 to the downside and something like this, you know, just to give us a valid correction. And the reason is because you can see that this is also a formation. This is the head, you have the left shoulder and the right shoulder, and mind you, this is the 50% retracement, okay, the one we found on the daily, right? This particular structure right here. So let's go back to the daily and plot the same Fibonacci tools again. So this is going to be the swing high and the swing low. Okay, so right here, as you can see, so this formation you're seeing right here is actually happening at a resistance structure, which is the 50% retracement. So this particular head and shoulder formation could be what will fuel the market to create another bearish, bullish correction. So I look forward to seeing, you know, the possible things that can happen in this week. So if you guys are here to join our Telegram channel, the link is actually going to be on the comment section and also on the description. So, and at the same time, do well to subscribe and follow us for more videos like this. And if you guys have any question, make sure you also drop your question on the comment section, or you guys can reach out to me privately. So yeah, so this is actually what we are expecting on GBPUSD, you know, to see price retracing further to the downside. And you know, okay, so we can actually do something like this. Let's pick out the Fibonacci tools from the swing low to the swing high. So yeah, we can actually see price retracing to, this is wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, something like this. Yeah, so back to the 61.8, which is actually a retest of the broken structure right here. As you can see, I mean, don't mind my drawing, it's kind of rough, but you guys actually get the point, right? So we actually are anticipating price to create a retracement back to this retracement zone, right? This particular structural zone right here. So this is what we're anticipating. So now let's go back to EURUSD. Yeah, so on EURUSD, let's quickly dive into the weekly time frame. Okay, so right here on EURUSD, as you can see, for some period right now, EURUSD is kind of consolidating. As you can see, this is a sign that there is a temporary pause on the euro market, and this is just temporary pause is just to for market to gather more momentum, right? Because consolidation in the market is kind of a normal activities, because of course we know we have different type of direction, and the consolidation is also one of them. So we have the uptrend, the downtrend, and the sideways. So the sideways is also called a consolidation or a range. So here you can see we have price giving us a bullish movement and a correction. Now this correction appears to be a consolidation, right? So if you guys can see that for some weeks right now, Euro USD has been giving us the same formation as GBP USD, right? 2 weeks candle was also bullish, right? 2 weeks activities were also bullish. So right now, let's go back to the daily. Like I said the other time, I wouldn't want this video to be too long. So I'm very sure you guys actually understood everything that we projected to you guys. But if you guys have any question, like I said, do well to comment your question, right? I'll always take note of your question and give you guys a very prompt response. Now, as you can see right here, this is on the daily. Yeah, this is on the daily, and if you guys can see today's candle, right? Hold on a second. Yeah, if you guys can see today's candle, we're actually having a rejection. Now, if you pay attention to yesterday's candle, right, you see that yesterday's candle was also bearish. Okay, now buyers were trying their best to gain momentum in the market for today. Okay, but fortunately the sellers took charge, and you can see right here currently they brought them down, showing that the sellers are kind of gaining strength. But at the same time, all of this whole thing, you can see that for some days, this is since 24th of November up until 3rd of December, right? This is about, I think, 2 weeks, right? So for about 2 weeks right now, the buyers have been gaining control, okay? And everything you're seeing right here, everything in this movement, okay, everything right here is all correction. Okay, so correction. Now we have the wave 1, we have wave 2, and this is wave 3. Now this movement, this wave 3 movement, right, this movement to the upside right here took about 2 weeks, okay, which buyers were kind of very strong during this period. Okay, now you can see that there was no single bearish candle among these candles, right, except for this yesterday's candle. Now this might be maybe sellers are kind of trying to gain access to the market or trying to gain control of the market, right? But we can't really tell. Okay, I mean, we can only tell when we go over to the next lower time frame, and then we'll be able to have a better projection. Now you guys can see this is more like a double top formation, right? This is the top one, because on the weekly time frame we actually had a rejection. This is the top one and top two. Now this particular breakout that you're seeing right here was actually a rejection on the weekly time frame. But as you can see, the movement to the downside, we have the impulse, we have wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. So this could be the next bearish movement to the downside. But anyway, let's go back to the 4 hours time frame. So right here on the 4 hours time frame, so you guys can see, right, this was the 2 weeks bullish movement that we found on the daily time frame. So everything right here, you can see it's actually giving us an uptrend. Very interesting, right? This is actually giving us an uptrend where we have bullish impulse correction, and impulse. As you can see, we are anticipating a correction. So this is actually something that I'm looking towards to see the market giving us a correction. We actually dropped an analysis on those markets some hours ago, where we wanted price to approach the support trend line before going further to the upside. So this is actually something that we are trying to anticipate in the market. Okay, so yeah, there is nothing much on Euro USD other than to just wait. Okay, let's go back to the 1 hour time frame. So as you can see on the 1 hour time frame, we actually had a break of this support structure, which is the uptrend formation. Okay, you can see this is actually the impulse. Everything right here is the correction. So the correction is kind of active at the moment. So we have everything right here is all correction, right? It's all correction. So here we have the wave 1, we have the wave 2. So we're anticipating the wave 3 to the downside, which, like I said the other time, it is to approach the support trend line. Okay, so personally for me, I am going to be watching out on this market. At least every of the market we have actually talked about, I'm watching out for it, and I would recommend you guys to do the same as well. Okay, you guys to do the same as well. You guys can actually add it to your watch list, and let's see how this market project in the next couple of days. Okay, today the market is going to close because this Friday. Based on my time zone. So we are going to also have the same projection for next week. So if you guys actually like this video, feel free to subscribe, like the video, and then comment if you have any question. So thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you on our next video.